Do you have a plan to deal with home invasion? I call it an IPP, an individual protection plan. Something that's a ready response, like a Minuteman, that would have the gear and the knowledge and the training to react immediately to a threat, especially on the home front, in your home, on your homestead, in your house, whatever. Not so far ago. It wasn't like, yesterday, but it was fairly recent. A few towns over, because I live in a very rural area and the towns are very small. It could have just been as easily my place as this person's place. But 3 armed men with masks and shotguns stormed a little family's home. They hogtied them, beat them to a bloody pulp. And luckily they didn't die. No one died, but they got cleaned out of all their possessions. And to my knowledge, no one's been caught. If this can happen where I live, which is freaking safe as hell, this can happen anywhere, okay? And so do you have a means? Do you have real psychology to deal with this? Have you thought about this? I mean, have you drilled? Have you practiced? If you have family and kids, do you go through drills? And not to do it in a scary fashion, not to freak out anybody, and not to go over the top. No, none of this yelling and screaming and make it a big deal. If the kids are young enough, they are too young, you might want to make it a game, or you may want to just find ways to distract the kids when this drill goes on. But whatever it is, you need to actually have a real plan, okay? And I'm not going to go on a long tangent of the things you need to do per se, like hide weapons in each room or have all these different contingencies and or train from certain martial arts or have certain types of weapon systems. I think that at this point, if you've been watching the channel, you would have at least some of that knowledge. But if you want to know just in general, though, you would definitely want to have, first of all, at least 1 or 2 words that you say in a certain way that's unmistakable. That means that you need to do certain things. For example, if you yell out, maybe you're like one of the parents, and you yell out, "Intruder," and you say it with passion and with intent, that means everybody goes into that particular personal protection mode, the IPP as I call it. And that means everybody goes into their armory of battery. They secure and shelter in place. They secure arms. They dispatch, law enforcement, and they do this all in sequence. They have a certain protocol, and so secure themselves in certain rooms that maybe are strong rooms with stronger doors, maybe reinforced hinges and bolts, locks, whatever it is that you have set up. You need to have it set up. If you go through life and oblivious, if you go through life as if nothing could ever happen to you, things are going to happen to you. Trust me. I've been very lucky in my life, but even the nice guy, art of prepping, has had some hellacious moments in my life. And so I've been robbed. There's a lot of things that have happened to me. And while I'm still alive, okay, I've had to do certain things to live and to get through certain things. And so many people have had it much worse than I. So I'm not sitting here complaining, but I'm just saying you have to have a freaking plan. If you just walk around aimless and you're never armed or never have any kind of means to protect yourself, and you think you can just fight them off because you have big biceps and you're going to punch your way out of everything, you're going to have a hard time punching 5 or 6 large men with baseball bats, okay? You're going to have a hard time with that. You're going to have a hard time dealing with a lot of thugs at one time rushing your home. Do you really have a plan on dealing with that? A home invasion is a real thing. And most time it's not just one person acting like they're the mailman trying to gain entry in your home, or someone acting like that they're the air conditioning guy or the cable guy. It's a lot more sophisticated than that anymore. They come in groups. They may have a decoy. This is typically how they do it now. Maybe a very beautiful lady or a very, very unsuspecting kind of person. Even an elderly person could be a part of this. That comes up to your door, and once they get that door open, then they rush you while they have that door. It's been compromised. And so you have to be very careful, very mindful. When you're at home, lock the doors. It's not paranoia. You want to be secure in your home. When you lock your doors, you turn on your alarm system. You have it, so you use it. Just because you're in the home doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. Okay? Be mindful. Don't have like everything you own out in front of a window so everybody can see what they can take and give them reason to break into your home. Okay? Well, just because you're in your home doesn't mean that you shouldn't be armed or have a battery of arms very nearby. You should have multiple options in real threat deterrent. Not BB guns. We're talking about real weapons that can actually put a man down, maybe in one shot. That weapon system is up to you. I have videos on what I would believe and what all the evidence shows of what are the better weapon systems. I'm not going to get into that, but you need to have that. You need to have at least maybe one or two means at a minimum of calling out for help. And you need to have lots of medical knowledge in case you do get shot, because if you're shooting, they may be shooting back and you may get hit. So these are just some ideas I needed to bring up. It kind of just occurred to me that I don't really think I talked about this in enough serious fashion or enough of a passion. And I think that, even if just one person out of my viewership, and it's growing very well, I want to thank everyone for joining me, and for all the new subscribers, hello and welcome to the channel. But this is something that you have to be mindful of. You have to be mindful that there's bad people, there's evil people, if you want to say, in this world, and they will take advantage of anyone they can if they suspect that they can get away with it, or if they can, even in the short term, get some type of advantage over you. And so you do not want to be passive, and you don't want to be weak, or at least be perceived as weak or an easy target. You want to be considered a difficult, hard target, someone that's going to be a real pain in the ass to deal with. And I can guarantee someone on my street, most people on my street, including myself, it would be a bad choice to come down my street. You wouldn't probably survive. You wouldn't probably even get back to your car. You'd have holes all through you. And this is the reality, though, in a lot of rural areas. It's just not a good idea to go and screw around people in the country. And I wish I could say that the same thing about urban areas, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are unarmed. They're just completely open themselves up, and they think that, I have a phone, I'll just call for help and problem solved. Well, they don't realize that the majority of these issues, they may not even have a chance to call for help. And the second of all, the police are almost always late, almost always never going to be able to get there in time. So I wish everyone well and safety for their families. Especially if you're a parent and you have kids, it is the crucial, most highest of priorities to keep your kids safe. And if you do not have a plan, if you do not have a means to protect your family, you are a failure for your family. And I hate to be that blunt about it, but you have not fulfilled your obligations as a parent. And shame on you. And I know a lot of people are like that. And I'm not trying to dog any of you in particular, but if you are not really prepared for this, and this can happen right now or tomorrow, and you don't have any contingencies, and someone in your family could be hurt or killed because you didn't have a plan, this will haunt you forever. So get your act together and get on with it. And I'm sure that probably 99% of people who are watching this have a plan. And I want to salute you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for all the comments. Pass this video on, though. This is really a video mainly for other people who are not awake and they're not aware of the potential for harm for their family, because they live in a world filled with distractions, and basically they don't live in the real world, and they don't acknowledge the threats that are really about and moving on in this world. And so we need to be just realistic and say that this stuff happens. And just because it happens doesn't mean that it's going to make us, any different as a person, but we're going to have a means to overcome it. You guys take care. I'll catch you real soon.